So what I'm going to be doing here is making the drips, just like on this one. It's like a witch's brew or an oozy goo coming off the side of the cup, but I want to put it on this Christmas cup. And I want it to be brown, like it looks like hot chocolate dripping down. So I'll probably have a little bit more than what I need, but it's better to have more than what you need than too little. I took about 12 ml each of part A and part B epoxy, mixed it, and I mixed it with the colors that I wanted. And in this case I used a little bit of this, I think it's antique copper, and it's a mica powder. And I also used just some regular brown craft acrylic paint. And this is really to suit you, the colors. You could put brown glitter, you can make it darker, like a dark chocolate. I kind of like the hot cocoa look of milk chocolate. And I've let this sit so far for about 30 minutes, so it's starting to harden up a little bit. Generally it takes about 45 minutes to 50 minutes for it to get thick enough, and you want to make sure when you scrape it on the sides it doesn't run too fast. So I'll come back in about 15 minutes and we'll get started. Alright, so it's been about 45 minutes. See how it's starting to thicken up? But if I let it run down the side, it's still running too fast. So I'm probably going to give it about 10 more minutes. But you got to be careful, you got to watch it close, because at a certain point it starts to thicken up pretty quick. We'll give it a couple more minutes, maybe 10. Okay, so it's been closer to about 55 minutes, and it's starting to feel like caramel. It's about the best way I can describe it. See how it sits there? It's not really running down the cup too fast. So I'm going to start on the back of the cup, because by the time I work my way around to the front of the cup, it'll be a little bit harder and it won't go down past this decal here. I don't want it to cover up my decal. So let's do a tester. Nothing too thick. It is very messy. So let's start right here. And we're just going to scrape. I have a feeling that's just still a little too gooey. I don't like how fast it's running. So either put it on just a little too thick or still just a little too runny. That's a pretty good drip, but I think it's just going too fast. I don't want it to touch the bottom of my cup. I'd rather keep it somewhere towards the middle of the cup. I'm just going to stop it from running for a minute so it hardens up. Just a couple more minutes. So as I'm letting it harden up just a little bit more, I'm holding this upside down so this doesn't drip too much further down. I don't like it to drip too far. That's a nice color chocolate. Alright, let's try another one. It's really, really thick. I don't want to put too much on my stick. Maybe that'll help it keep it from running so fast. So let's scrape this. Sometimes it's irritating when you get these strings. Just kind of twist it around. It's really starting to set up now. It's hard to find that happy medium with this stuff when it's not too thick but not too runny. You just gotta start working kind of fast. You can always go back and add a little bit more. You can add your heat gun to it a little bit too and smooth it out. Help it to run a little bit more if it's not running as much as you want it to. Alright, let's make a slightly bigger dollop. I'm putting about that much on the stick. Of course, always be mindful of your decal. You don't want to run over top of important parts of your decal. I definitely recommend trying to practice cup first. This is the very first time I did this. It was so messy. It was everywhere. It was all over my table, all over me, all over parts of the cup I didn't want it to be on. You can still see what I'm doing here. So again, past the name on the back of this, I want to make slightly larger dollops. So here's what it looks like so far. Nice and chocolatey. Like I said, I can take the heat torch over top of these and make them run just a little bit more, smooth them over where there's any lumps or bumps. So it's a point where you gotta start working really fast because it's starting to really thicken up. But also still want to be super careful not to get over top of my decal, not to make a huge mess. That string gets on my nerves, but it's going to be gorgeous. go around like that. I'm just trying to get rid of that string because that'll just kind of melt in with the rest of it. I think that might be enough. So I'm going to take my heat gun to this area a little bit and help it run. I don't want it to run too far. Take a look around. Maybe I want to add just a touch more right there, I think. And I think it's in my head, but for some reason this brown epoxy kind of smells like chocolate. I know it's not possible, but for some reason it does. Alright, so hopefully that doesn't run too much more of a chocolate name. It's going to continue to run, so it's making me a little nervous. So maybe I don't need to touch it with my heat gun. So I used almost all of it, and that was 12 ml of each, part A and B. That's almost all of it. So for this size cup, this is a 14-ounce mug. Circumference or diameter is about 3. So I think that was a good amount. It's starting to run over the end. I don't want to do that too much. You can hold it upside down for a little bit. It's kind of tedious work. You gotta babysit it a little bit. I'm trying to get my sticky fingers on the handle. Because after this, you don't need to epoxy anymore. All you really have to do is just kind of clean up your rim a little bit. But you do not need to epoxy anymore. Once this dries, it's going to be a finished cup. I want just a pinch more on my handle. Of course, it's going to depend on the temperature of your room a little bit too. If you got a colder room, it'll probably stop running a little bit faster. So what I've done before also, if it runs a little bit too fast, you can put it on a silicone mat. But you're going to set it this way for, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 minutes. Come back to it, flip it over, 5 to 8 minutes. And then as you go along, you can extend that time just a little bit more each time as it starts to get a little bit harder. And I will come back with the finished cup. If you have any questions, please message me. Thank you so much. So this is what I meant by babysitting this mug. See, it started to drip down past the end a little bit too far, further than what I wanted it to. So I'm just kind of coming back every 5 minutes and watching it, flipping it over. It's on a silicone mat so it doesn't stick. And flip it back over. I don't want to ruin that decal.